Hi everyone, I've done this introduction about 6 times now, and this is probably the 7th, because they were too long. I mean, this is a talkie, so if you want to switch off now because there's no action, please switch off. It's a chat about where I got to, where I am now, and the reasons for being away for so long. Couple of disasters really. One which nearly finished me off completely. I mean, I was ready to throw the towel in, I've got to admit. Okay, as you can see, this is a fairly long video from the time, but it explains a lot, it explains everything. But one of the things I really do need to explain about me back then, you know, where I left off, I developed what they call tunnel vision. And what I mean by that is, my tunnel vision was on that bench there, working with my batteries, you know, on the data log system, and what I was after, which was milliwatt hours per gram. And every time I did something, I just wanted milliwatt hours per gram to show on that screen, on that computer screen. And the problem was, I'd do something stupid like, I'd get a piece of 50mm by 50mm paper with carbon on it, times 2, put it together as a battery and get X amount of milliwatt hours per gram. And then what I'd do is I'd double the size, and I'd think, well, this was eventually, you know, this tunnel vision, I'd be thinking, why am I not doubling up? What have I still got? Let's just say if it was 87 milliwatt hours per gram, why haven't I doubled that? And this is where I was stuck. I wasn't thinking straight. I should have been, when I doubled that up, I should have been looking at capacity of the battery, milliamp hours. But I was so fixated on this milliwatt hours per gram because I was trying to get more and more and more out of a particular carbon. You know, if you can get 87 milliwatt hours per gram out of a particular carbon, that's all you're going to get, isn't it? You know, you might get slight improvements, but generally that's what you get, and that's where I was. So yeah, another reason really why I just had to give it a rest, you know, and that's it. So the first disaster then, well, that was, I've got my C drive on my laptop, or one of my laptops, and it's got a D drive partition, which keeps all of my video files. Now I've got hundreds and hundreds of hours of video footage of where I left off to, you know, at sort of 200 milliwatt hours per gram up to like 600. All of these videos were ready to put a medley together, if you like, over an hour or so, you know, split it into 2 videos, whatever, you know, whatever floated my boat at that time. And in steps this US company, only a startup company, they haven't been around for that long, so we can't really knock them, you know. It's a company called Microsoft, and they do this thing called Windows 10, and you get forced updates on Windows 10 now. So what happens? Well, they forced me to have this update. I didn't want it, they forced me to have it. So and it was full of bugs, and it wiped my D drive, wiped it, couldn't access it, couldn't do anything. Major disaster. If you can imagine the hours that you spend putting all these video files together, then you have to edit them down and all the rest of it, all gone like that. But anyways, the upshot of that is I bumped into someone that said, well, I can fix that, you know, hopefully, and he did, and he got a lot of my video files back. So that was that. How many I've got back, I don't really know yet, and I do intend to do that video for the new year, which is sort of a medley, as I say, of all of, you know, the steps up to where I got to. So that's that. The next major disaster that nearly made me throw the towel in was with ball milling. This is the one, more than anything else, which almost finished me off. Oh, and I've got to say, a lot of well wishers. I've got to say thank you to everyone that's asked how I am and am I okay. Yes, I am. I've had a lot of people saying a lot of things. One guy said, "Oh, are you dead? How do you answer that if you're dead?" People saying all sorts of things. You know, have you moved on to other stuff? Are you the person that Robert Murray Smith was talking about? He's got this new guy coming in. No, I'm not. Chance would be a fine thing. I'm not clever enough for that. Not for those guys anyway. Well, yeah, and people just generally, you know, well wishing. So that's great. Anyway, back to this disaster. And this, when I say it nearly finished me off, I was ready to just throw in the towel. And it's all to do with ball milling. And it was all to do with the balls, the stainless steel balls that I was using, because I couldn't find a ceramic ball heavy enough to do the job really, which would be 10 times better, trust me, if you could find heavy ceramic balls. Now if anyone knows where I can get them from, great, let me know. But generally I had to throw away all of my carbons, every single one of them, the lot, throw them away, which represented months and months and months of work, trust me, because it's not a speedy affair to make a carbon. And I will say this, one of the best carbons that I had produced to date was from waste cardboard and waste paper. So, you know, if you look at what we started with, a cellulose structure, you should clearly be able to see that, you know, it's going to work. And you know, waste paper and cardboard, how many tons do we throw away every day, every week, every month, every year? It represents millions and millions of tons of the stuff. So one of my best carbons ever was from waste cardboard, waste paper. So this disaster then, I produced loads and loads, my battery's low so I'm going to hurry up, loads and loads and loads of carbons, various carbons, which all went in the bin. And I'm going to give you a close-up view of how this all occurred and why I had to throw all of these carbons away. Sad day, but my stupidity led me to this, so I'm going to show you now. So what I'm going to do is, as I've said, I've done this about 6-7 times now, and I'm going to pick little bits, so if you see me in different clothing or whatever, different camera angles, or, you know, just don't worry about it. It's just the way it is. I'm going to cut and edit, you know. So I'm hoping that you can see what's in there. I'm hoping that you can see all of that rust in there. This was a tub with some carbon that I'd made from coconut, you know, the regular coconut variety carbon, but I changed the order. Now I'll explain more about that later on, but I all of a sudden thought, why is everything going wrong? Well, that's it. Now it was all down to these things. That's all it was. If you look at that there, that's a nice shiny stainless steel 316 stainless ball bearing, and if you look at some of these other ones, these rusty ones, alright, that purported to be 316, well, it just ain't, is it? You know. So I can pick out all of the 316 stainless steel balls there because there's no rust on them, and they'll polish up. I'll polish this on my jumper now. See? No problem. And you can see the rusty ones. It goes deeper than that. They get worse. Look at that. Now again, you can look in there and you can see you can just pick out all of the decent 316s. I mean, that one there is probably it's got surface rust off of one of these bad ones. You could, well, yeah, you can polish it up. It's just got some localised. I'm polishing this on my jumper again, by the way, and there you go. You know, it polishes out, no problem. Now, like I said, I'm going to come in with different cuts, different edits, different times and all the rest of it, but you're just looking now at those stainless steel balls. Now, you could be forgiven for thinking, why didn't you notice this? Well, I'll tell you. I only noticed when I'd left one of those drums to one side for a couple of weeks. Probably. So, leaving that to one side then, what I normally do when I'm ball milling with these stainless steel balls, I finish the operation, take the lid off, and you've got this lovely black carbon, and all these, you know, I wouldn't say shiny, but stainless steel balls that just look like stainless steel balls. So, what I do then is I put everything through a sieve, drain off the contents, wash the stainless steel balls with DI water, then go and wash them again further, so they're still stainless steel balls, they're not rusty, you know, and then I use them again straight away to do another carbon on the ball mill. So that was the procedure. And of course, this tub that I'd left, I don't know why I left it, but I did, you know. I picked it up one day, takes the lid off, couldn't remember what the carbon was, just, you know, just left it there. Solid rust, as you're looking at. So, that was it. That's why I never noticed. Simple. Stupid. But who the hell wants to sort all that lot out? You know. Now, I've got to say again. Now you can imagine all this rust, all this metal, in your carbons, which is probably, well, it's iron 3, isn't it? You know, so who wants that in their carbons? And this is what I had in all of my carbons that I've produced. Just look at them. Look at the state of it. Now, these were from China, so, you know, you can't trust anything they say on eBay. Oh yeah, this is genuine 316 stainless steel, because it just ain't, is it? You know. I've got some of these new balls now, and I've had them in soak in water for, I don't know, 3 months, something like that. Okay, in here I've got some stainless steel balls, and they are genuine 316 marine grade, I do believe, stainless steel balls, and they've been soaking in there for about 6 weeks, literally 6 weeks. Okay, so nice shiny stainless steel balls, load of crap, bought from China. I did start to sort these out, but they need to go through a process which I'm going to have to put them back through the ball mill, or do something, I don't know what, just wash them or whatever. I mean, that lot in there is just, well, as you can see, there's a shiny one there, that's okay. That rusty one there, that isn't, obviously. These shiny ones, they're all okay, but I'm going to be honest, there's no way that I am going to ever start and pick all these out. That one there is a good one, believe it or not. See it? And then the rusty ones, they they really are pitted and rusty. It's just crap. So I've literally got to start again now. So that was a nice batch of carbon at one time, and I noticed that I poured the contents into another container and left this to dry, and that's what I ended up with. So be very, very wary of what medium you use to do your ball milling. But anyways, that was two major disasters, so that's what kept me away. Now, first things first, before I talk about batteries or anything, YouTube, oh, I need to apologise really, don't I? One guy said, you best start with an apology. You've really made me angry, he said, and got a big long, and one of my other subscribers had to tell him to like chill out, you know. But yeah, I apologise. It's been, what, over 4 months? But I've been busy, very, very busy. Not so much with batteries, because of that disaster, and I need to start making carbons again. Now, before I do that, I've got to fix my kiln again, because I kept killing it, and I'll tell you why. Well, it was all to do with activating carbons, and the way I activate carbons, I shouldn't be saying this because I'm going to do a lot more of this in the new year, but the way generally I activate carbons, and there are many ways, you know, you can do it with acids, metal salts, everyone knows that. The king in the metal salts is zinc chloride, and I use zinc chloride. It's a good method, I like it, it's controllable, better than acids. So anyways, I generally make up a solution of zinc chloride, whatever I need to carbonise, or you know, whatever it is, I pour this solution of zinc chloride into a jar like this. That's garlic, makes an excellent carbon, but you've got sulphur groups, so that can and can't be a problem. And you basically, once it's been in soak for about 24, 48 hours, whatever, what I do then is I pour off the solution, the excess, I let it cake up like that, then I dry that completely. Well, I do now. I hadn't used to. That was the problem. And my kilns became conductive, the whole casing and everything. It was all down to this stuff. Everything was conductive. So yeah, but that's, you know, generally the problem that I had, and I've killed my kilns several times. So now I dry this completely and then fire it in the kiln. Good tip for anyone, that. So yeah, I've got to repair my kiln, or two of them I should say, and get, you know, making carbons again ready for the new year. In the new year you're going to see, I've been playing around, obviously. I haven't just left it, you know, per se completely. And one of the things I was playing around with, I've been making lots of nickel oxy hydroxide, and I'm going to show you my version of a nickel ion battery. Always been intrigued with that one. Ever since I saw RMS, with how intrigued he was, you know, and all the rest of it. So yeah, that's one of them. I'm going to well, I'm going to carry on with the, can't think of the word, whatever. My thermal batteries, which, if anyone saw the videos and remembers thermal batteries, was an aluminium plate, a graphite plate. Sorry, no, it wasn't aluminium, was it? That was the water battery, that's another one. Aluminium plate, graphite plate, and water as the electrolyte. That's another one I'm going to revisit. Revisit, there's the word. So I will be revisiting my thermal battery, which was a piece of magnesium, piece of graphite, and what was it? Yeah, the electrolyte was chlorophyll, wasn't it? From leaves. Had a mental block then. Yeah, chlorophyll in acetone was the electrolyte. Now, people can say all sorts of things, but they work, and that's all there is to it. They will continue giving current for, I don't know how long actually. Now, I know this is a fact because I've got some lying around on the shelves somewhere. small ones, and I can pick them up month in, month out, and they still work, and they're bone dry. You know, I can take one apart, it just crumbles, it's just dust. Now, whether there's any moisture from the ambient air in there, I don't know, but they are absolutely bone dry. Almost like a little solid state device, so they are worth revisiting. So there we've got, you know, my normal batteries as well. And I'm going to show you some of my best carbons and what I did with them, how I made the carbons actually. So it's going to be, you know, a water battery I'll revisit. I mean, that's not so interesting really, but I was intrigued by it. My thermal battery and a nickel iron battery as well. So back to subscribers and stuff like that. YouTube contacted me and said, you've got 1,000 subscribers, do a video and all that. But of course, you know, all this stuff happened, and you know, I was ready to shoot myself. I don't know about anything else, especially with you know, those carbons. Everything going in the bin, got to start from fresh, you know, again. But hey ho, you know, it's life, that's it, and that's what I've got to do. Now, one of the other reasons I've been sort of really busy was that I've been designing my own products that I want to sell. You know, I'm not expecting to sell millions or thousands or even hundreds, but you know, if it helps with all of this and I can make a little bit of profit, then I'll do it. Now, without going through a list of products, I'll just talk about the one main one which might interest some people, which is a ball mill. And in fact, there's my ball mill that I've designed myself. There it is, it's full of electronics. Okay, this is a sneak peek of the inside of my ball mill. The purpose of the box there is that has a lid on it, so no water, moisture, whatever can get to that controller there. There's another box of tricks there that's potted anyway, but I didn't want to pot the big one because it just costs too much money, so even the small one eventually will have a box with a lid, so that'll be that. So there we go, there's the motor, the DC motor. It looks a bit busy, I know. Well, yeah, there's a lot of cabling. A lot of that cabling there goes to this LED display for the, it's not particularly RPMs, but a percentage of the RPMs, so that's that. And it does a lot more than a regular ball mill will do. This is my old ball mill. You know, it cost me about 100 quid at the time. I think you can get them cheaper than that now, but you know, I paid 100 quid for this on eBay, and it served me well. But several problems. Number one, there ain't a switch, so to operate the thing, you got to plug it in and unplug it to start it and stop it. You know, a switch, for God's sakes. You know, a switch. What's a switch? But no switch. The other thing was, you know, these tubs, these drums, they do leak if you don't seal them properly, especially with these cheaper ones. But in the main, they're good. Now they leak all over your ball mill. This is 240 volts. Well, water and 240 volts, that's not good, is it? You know, so that was the other thing with this. You know, why it's now redundant, and I designed my own. So the first thing I did with my design was put a switch on it for one. So we've got an on-off switch with an LED. Oh, it's not plugged in, sorry. So, you know, switch it on, got an LED. There's a second switch there, which is an up or down switch. It's not a rocker, there is a neutral position. The second thing I wanted was, well no, the second thing I wanted was 12 volts. It's got a 12 volt DC motor, nice and safe, 12 volt DC. I can do a 24 volt version as well for one a bit more power, but that damn thing is powerful enough. You can have your drums flying off it, you know, if you got it full whack. So 12 volt DC, nice safe supply. There's a speed controller on it with an LED readout which gives a percentage of the PWM. Really, it's not saying that it's doing 2,000 revs a minute or 1,000 revs a minute. It's just a percentage of the speed, a percentage of the speed via the speed controller, which is pulse width modulation. So that's that. The other thing I wanted, these drums, they clog up in the ends. If you leave them on for hours and hours and hours just spinning, they clog up. And oddly enough, I was waiting for my washing to finish in the washing machine one day, and what was happening was it was spinning, it was doing that nice and slow and then doing that, and I thought, yeah, it's untangling the clothes. This is the new cycle of a washing machine. This is what they do, which gave me the idea for this, you know, forward and reverse action, and that's what it does. But not only that does it go forward and reverse at different cycles, different time cycles. There's a timer on it as well. So there's a potentiometer on it there. I'm going to give you close-ups of this, of it in operation and everything, all the rest of it. So the one potentiometer is the speed, the other potentiometer is the timer, so you can time it for a minute in that direction, a minute in the other direction, a minute in that direction. It will just keep alternating, but a minute's no good. You need to be about an hour or something like that, or half an hour, you know. So that's my ball mill, and like I say, you'll see some close-ups. Right, so there it is. Now you can probably see if I slow it down, a couple of arrows there, direction arrows. There's the display. This is the speed controller, and like I say, this particular type style of drum, they are very noisy, so there's nothing I can do about that. Okay, now 3D printed parts, you know, why have I done green? Well, that's to remind me, there it goes, just switch the other way, look. These are what I call wear washers, and I'll supply a few of those with this so they can be changed. It's easily stripped. These things, there's an Allen key in the bearing, so you just take that shaft out to change these. But I've had this going for days and days and days, you know, for test purposes and all the rest of it. And it just carries on, just keeps on going, you know. Speed that up a bit again. And now it's just changed this direction again, look. Now, just to prove a point with, you know, how noisy, there's not a lot of weight in this, so I don't know whether it's just going to fly off. Well, no, I mean, that's the difference, look. The noise that these things generate, these rubber tyre things, it's just phenomenal. Now that's, you know, 70, 80%, 100%, you know, quiet, very quiet. So there you go, a ball mill. Now I don't know what percentage these actually work. It doesn't go down to 0 and work, or even 17, look, very, very slow, very slow. So you want to be up to about 30% to get it moving. Now 3D printed is the 2 pulleys, that one's black. I will be doing these in black or grey, or even blue if someone wants blue, I don't mind which. Like I say, the different colours are just to show, give a contrast so you can see that they are 3D printed parts. So that's that then. Now the other thing that has kept me really, really busy is 3D printing, which I've mentioned before, because I bought a 3D printer. I've got 4 of them now. I bought a 3D printer to print some parts, you know, for a battery, i.e. a battery casing, and other experimental parts, you know, for the bench. So it's, you know, it sort of, it had a use, if you like, but then you tend to find that you start modifying these 3D printers, you know, because I mean, they're good, you know, the cheaper end, they're pretty good, but they're not that good, you know, and you find yourself modifying these things, highly modifying them, which I've been doing. Never thought I would see myself doing it, but I have. So not only, you know, have I been busy with that, printing 3D parts and trying to get them right for this. Now there's 2 pulleys on that which are 3D printed. The brackets holding the bearings for the shafts, they're 3D printed. So that's 4 parts there, on, you know, on the outside. And on the inside there's another 4. There's 2 boxes which contain the main electronics, the secondary electronics for the timers and all that. The bracket for the motor that holds the motor, that's 3D printed. There's a lid, so there's, you know, there's another 4 parts inside there as well. So it's all been, you know, very, it's kept me busy. Another one, sorry about this, but as I think of things, I'm going to be doing this from now on because I forget too much and I don't put it in the videos. But anyways, right, 3D printing. One of the comments to Rob was, why don't you 3D print your battery parts or your casings or something like that? And he said that 3D printing was notoriously slow. Now I've never disagreed with Rob ever on anything because, well, he's always right. So anyway, I'm not disagreeing with him now, but what I'm about to say is a fact. Yes, 3D printing is notoriously slow if you've got one 3D printer, but if you wanted to do high volume production, you can go to 3D printing these days. You can do it. High volume production in the industry world is notoriously expensive and very fast, as we know. Various processes with plastics, you could vacuum form, that's really quick. Injection moulding, that's extremely quick, and you can produce millions of parts in a week. But let's just say you didn't want such high volume. Let's say you're not, you know, injection moulding and you don't want 3 million parts. Well, there's something you could do. You could go to China. For one, that would be cheaper. Or another country. There's various countries now where you can get production on that scale. But let's say that you didn't want that volume. Let's say that you want a volume, but you wanted 500 or 1,000 pieces or something like that. So what can you do? Well, for the most part, you wouldn't vacuum form because you want a solid object, and that's mainly for hollow stuff. You wouldn't want to go to the cost of injection mold tools because that could cost 100,000 bucks, English bucks or American bucks, whichever. It's a lot of money. Or you can now go to what they call a 3D print farm. So what's that then? For those of you that don't know, I'll tell you. The ones that do know, they know. A 3D print farm is basically that. It's a farm, and it's kind of a factory with racking, and on all of these racks there are hundreds of 3D printers stacked up, wall-to-wall 3D printers. And I think Prusa is king at this at the moment. I think he probably actually started it, Joseph Prusa, who makes 3D printers as well. So what they do is they farm the part that you want. So you could end up with, I don't know, let's say all of these printers, let's say there's 150 printers that could churn out your part twice a day. That's 300 a day. So at the end of a week, you know, you get a few thousand, don't you? Low volume production. So whilst I'm not disagreeing with Rob, you know, that's a fact. 3D printing can also be quick as well if you go to a print farm, and all you got to do is send your files to these people. If there's any cleaning up to do, they're clever enough to do that as well. So there you go. 3D printing plastic parts. So as a consequence of that, this guy that got all my video files back for me has got one of my laptops. He's wiping Windows off completely, Microsoft Windows, and I believe I'm going to go for Linux Mint or something like that as my main operating system on that, and I'll assess it throughout next year. So that's what I'm going to do. And if that works okay, we haven't got any problems, I shall wipe Microsoft Windows off all of my laptops. You know, that's it. You know, they've had long enough now, what, 25 years or something, or 20 years, you know, to get Windows right. But they are just so intent on harvesting data now. So is everyone else. They're just, all they want to do is harvest your data, you know. And Microsoft are king at that. But there's my little gripe with Microsoft, you know. Thousands of people all over the world had the same problem. If you look at the forums, it happened, they admitted it, job done. So I'll shut up about Microsoft now. So anyway, I'm going to try and do something before Christmas for you. Like I said, my apologies for being away for so long. But like, I was a bit down in the dumps. But I've continued with certain things, and I shall be around in the new year to show you all the new stuff, how to make how I make my carbons. I shall be showing you all of that, and you know, they're all conductive, obviously. We've recently seen a lot from well, RMS has been showing us a lot, hasn't he? I haven't commented on any of his videos just lately, but I know for a fact that he knows, you know, and possibly the team knows, or should know, that I'm always 110% behind what they do. And, you know, we're all grateful for their efforts, we know that. We've seen other people like Gerhard. He kind of, he's been producing some good stuff lately. He's at the nano scale now. That's the level he's at, which is kind of orientated around what Robert showed us with his live stream video. A lot of people complaining about the sound, but I'm sure they'll get it right, you know. They will get it right. So they're all down to a nano scale. Now that video told everyone quite a lot, really. So, you know, if you've watched it once, watch it twice, it will tell you a lot. I was kind of working on my own sort of nano scale, if you like. I tried to produce a titanium battery, and I'd read a paper about you know, how to turn titanium dioxide into a nano form, if you like, but nano tubes in particular. So I was sort of going down that route anyway. I've always known that, you know, the nano scale is where we all need to be. So, but unless you've got a reactor, knock the clock off like that, you know, you ain't going to be making titanium dioxide on a nano scale. But like I say, I had a play with this, and then I realised that just the titanium dioxide in itself you could use as an active material, which is similar to what Rob's done, Gerhard. Doosan over at K-Rex 2, he seems to be happily intent on sort of pursuing his inks for these heater panels, which is great, you know, because I guess he'll end up with a product at the end of the day. He's done a little bit on a couple of batteries, but not much. Martin at Solar Hope, he's doing some good stuff at the minute with his zinc battery. Everyone seems to be orientated around a zinc battery, don't they? I know I have been, if you've been watching the videos. But I'll pursue that again, like I say, in the new year. So I'll kind of leave it at that for now. Yet another cut and edit. I was saying all of that then. I'm looking back at the video now, trying to edit it, and I'm thinking, whoa, hold on. Let me just turn this on. I'm doing a soak test on the ball mill. It's been going now for 2 days or so, because I want to see what wears out, basically. The two stainless steel shafts have got a rubber a rubber tube over them. It's silicone rubber, so I want to see if that wears out, you know, so that's what I'm doing. Anyway, back to this cut and edit. I'm talking about the people that were a dwindling population, as it were, us battery people that do all this. I forgot, Dan in Australia, I was watching 2 of his videos today, based on the RMS thing again, with, shall I try this again? Zinc, potassium hexacyanoferrate. How's that? Yay! So he's making batteries based on that. Now, I think I said earlier on that I'm going to attack that as well. I'm going to have a little go, but I will. I'll explain all once I've done it. I've got a different take on it, and I've already mentioned the fact that 12 months back oh, and Dennis has got Dennis, D-E-N-N-I-S. He's doing quite a bit as well. Take a look at his channel. He's in Michigan, I think, aren't you, Dennis? Yeah. So as other people pop up in my head, I'll give them a mention, you know. Where was I? Blimey, I've lost track now. Where was I? Yeah, mentioning people, that was the one. Oh, Dan's batteries based on Robert Morris Smith and what I was going to do. My take will be slightly different because it will be along the lines of whoever mentioned or whoever commented on Rob's live stream about putting activated carbon into the mix, or a carbon into the mix, and it's where Rob said, yeah, but I would try and dope the carbon with the hexacyanoferrate before you even go anywhere near the zinc. Now I'm going to do that as opposed to anything else, but I've got to tell you, the reason that's been going so long, excuse me, is because there's some carbon in there which is already micro fine, but I want it finer. I want it down to almost a nanoscale, if you like, and then I'm going to dope it. But I'm not just going to do that, I'm going to do other things to it as well. I'm going to reactivate it, and I'm going to also add another functional group to it. So mine's a bit more complex based on what we've heard and what I've just said. So that's it really. That was this new little edit. And kind of sort of explain where I'm going to be in the new year. Firstly, I'm repairing my kiln. There it is. All new insulation and stuff like that. Quite importantly, all of the control circuit is not going to be underneath that kiln anymore, because it just gets too hot and things melt and break and stuff like that. So that's the kiln. A nickel ion battery. Like I've said, I've been making loads of nickel oxyhydroxide ready. I've tried and tested some batteries, so that's another one for the new year. Also my own batteries, where hopefully you're going to see from my carbons 700, maybe even 800 milliwatt hours per gram. We know that's not the end of the story, because you've got to construct something from that. But the main thought is, where I am now up here, is that I've been there for a while actually, but surface area is king, and that's all there is to it. Everyone that you see nowadays is looking at that nanoscale. In fact, I sat and watched again Rob's last live link video. Now it's quite grueling, that, because it is very long, but like all of Rob's videos, I watch them over and over and over again, because sometimes it's not what he tells us, it's what he doesn't tell us as well that gets me thinking. So that's just a personal thing. I kind of try to read in between the lines as well, you know, but that's just me. So surface area is king, nanoscale, that's where everyone is. Now that video, Gerhard, as I've said, he's been working with cerium oxide, which is a glass polisher, but you can buy that stuff down to, on eBay, 4 nanometers, something like that. Pretty good. Do you know what? I just couldn't resist looking at cerium oxide that Gerhard's using. So I didn't even go on Google Scholar, I just looked at Wikipedia for cerium oxide, and there it is. What an intriguing little compound this is. I just, you know, if I'm going to use it, I want to read this, you know, first. And I just wondered why it was maybe so good, you know. I've already stated in the video that you know, you can buy it on eBay at sort of 2 microns. Blimey. But you know, just reading this, it's got a very low solubility, which is good. It goes on to say that these factors recommend ceria, which is cerium oxide, as a solid state electrolyte in solid oxide fuel cells. Undoped and doped ceria also exhibit a high electronic conductivity at low partial pressures of oxygen. Now, it's also used in catalytic converters and sensors and all sorts of stuff like that at high temperature. So a lot of this is due to high temperatures, but that just said, to me anyway, low partial pressures of oxygen. And I just, it takes me back to being, well, a diver. We live and breathe in 1 atmosphere, and roughly as a calculation, you know, the partial pressure of oxygen is 0.2, and the 0.8 is nitrogen and some other inert gases. But as a diver, when you go down underwater to 10 meters, you know, these partial pressures double. So at 10 meters, oxygen, the partial pressure of oxygen is 0.4, and respectively the rest of it, the nitrogen and all that, was 0.8. It's now 1.6, so everything's doubled. And as you go down further to 20 meters, it reciprocates again. So, you know, it was just that it said at low partial pressures of oxygen, which says to me 1 atmosphere must be good. Mixed conduction. Due to the significant ionic and electronic conduction of cerium oxide, it is well suited to be used as a mixed conductor. Significant ionic and electronic conduction. Wow. Now, when you read some of this stuff, it talks about polarons. So you've got to have a little look at that as well. Non-stoichiometric compound, you know, it mentioned that in this reading, and you need to look at that as well, really. So I've ordered some. I'm going to be looking at it. So well done, Gerhard. I've got a feeling most of it is down to the particulate size of cerium oxide, well, cerium 4 oxide, not 3, but wow, but this is what you got to do, folks. You can't just blaze into things, you got to, you know, see what it's all about as well. Do a bit of homework. I'm not saying I understand all of this, but I understand quite a lot of it, you know, so that's where we got to be. Rob's video was all about put my glasses on. No, that's potassium ferricyanide. What was it? Oh yeah, potassium potassium Fahrenheit. Yeah, that one. I struggle to say that for some reason. I don't know why. But I bought these a while back. It was one of Rob's suggestions. It's all about redox pairs. So I've got some of that anyway. I might try it. But yeah, it was all about making this nano material as a storage medium. So it's kind of it's where we all need to be. And I only picked up as well last night. I picked up on this one by watching the video again. You know, people make these comments, and Rob reads out the comment and talks about the comment. And one of the comments was, could we not add activated carbon to what you're doing now? Which was making up the, well, it was a zinc hexacyanoferrate. Yeah, hexacyanoferrate. That's what they were making, zinc hexacyanoferrate. So someone said, could we not add active carbon to the mix, if you like? And Rob said, yeah, well, brilliant idea. That's a clever suggestion. But what I would do is, when you've got your two solutions, mix the carbon first with the hexacyanoferrate and possibly coat the carbon with that, and then do the rest of the process, adding the zinc slowly, drop-wise, stirring. So, and leave that for 8 hours, I think he said. So that was a good suggestion, wasn't it? A good idea. And it led me to thinking about one of my old videos, which I think I did about a year ago, which was something I was always going to revisit at one stage, because it kind of produced a really remarkably good carbon at that time. I can't remember how it would compare with my carbons now today, but this is what I did. I was making some graphene oxide, Hummer's method, I think, the one RMS showed us, and I decided at that time, while the reaction was taking place, which is quite volatile, as we know, or can be, I decided to add some active carbon, or some of my carbon, to that mix, with a view to coating the carbon with graphene oxide, and then I reduced the graphene oxide back to graphene, so I'd got a graphene coated carbon. So that was what I did at the time. That was about a year ago, and it just brought it all flooding back when I was watching Rob's video last night and someone made that comment. And that's nanoscale, isn't it, really? So surface area, that's what it's all about. That's where we've all got to be in this coming year. Sadly, there's not many of us around, is there? You know, I can only sort of mention a handful of people. A few of my subscribers all through this year have said that they're going to be doing videos as well. I'm hoping I haven't missed them, because I don't get notifications like I should do from YouTube. I don't know why. I think it stems from all the problems I had last year, be someone fiddling around with my channel, or something went on. I'm still not quite sure what it was, but hey ho. But yeah, just a handful of us. I wish that more people were around doing this kind of stuff. You know, whether it's batteries or supercapacitors, it doesn't matter which, does it? You know, we've all got the same aim at the end of the day. Obviously, Rob's leading the pack. He's out there, you know, Trade Commission, all the rest of it, which is fantastic. I still can't believe it, but like I've always said, I always knew Rob would get there, you know. It was inevitable, shall we say. So, just a handful of us, you know. We've got Gerhard, Doosan, but seems to be moving on to other things, not so much batteries anymore. I wish he would, because he's quite a clever guy. Martin, Solar Hope, me, and do you know what? I can't think of anyone else that actually does a lot of videos, you know, which is a shame, really. You know, and I mean, I've got, I think, almost 1,200 subscribers at the moment. Now, I know that, you know, a lot of those subscribers don't do what we do here, you know. They're interested in the subject for whatever reason, you know. It could be for eco reasons, you know, just people taking a general interest and looking at what we do, because, you know, I've said, you know, throughout that I want an eco-friendly system at the end of the day, i.e., you know, batteries. You know, whether any of us can get to that stage 100%, I don't really know, but we'll see. So, you know, I haven't got 1,200 subscribers that are making batteries, have I? You know, people watch for their own reasons, and a handful of those people are going to be people that do what we do. I just wish they were more at the forefront, showing us what they do. That would be extremely good in the new year. The problem is, this is the fundamental problem from my point of view. These mediums that they're producing are not conductive. Now, Rob's traditional method is to make something conductive, or give it a conductive path, is to add some graphite. So, you know, this medium has got a conductive path for the ions, well, electrons, ions, whatever. But I tend to err away from that, because I like conductive materials, so whatever I produce, I want that material to be conductive. Now that, I may even attempt to make it conductive itself. Don't know whether that would work, but I'm going to give it a shot. Yeah, I might as well try it, just give it a go, eh? And then just to say that I've done it as well. So we've got, I think in the new year, another video from Rob, but of course this is going to be after this trip to Japan, I think, this trade thing. So I'm looking forward to that for the new year, obviously. He's going to be doing another live link video, I think, where he's selling these kits on making this, what's he making? Graphene. Shows how long I've been away, doesn't it? I can't even think of what stuff's called. Yeah, graphene. And he's selling this new kit, so I won't buy one, obviously, because, you know, I'll just make something up. I think there's 2 relays in this kit for alternating the positive and the negative and swapping them round. But you can do that with one, Rob. I'll send you an email if you're watching. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. You can do it with one relay. So that's about it for now. If anyone's got this far, because it is a long old talky one, isn't it? You know, thank you very much. Perhaps give it a thumbs up, or don't. Don't give it one of those though, because like, you know, if you get bored, you just switch off, don't you? You know, you don't have to do that thumbs down. I think there's still one person out there that gives every single one of my videos a thumbs down, but get a life, eh? You know. So if I don't get to speak to you before Christmas now, I'm hopefully going to be doing that, but if I don't, I'd like to wish you all a happy Christmas and a happy New Year. Enough said. So, a few things to watch out for. Yes, I am going to be doing some videos on 3D printers and upgrading, you know, 3D printers. But that's for people that's interested in 3D printing. If you're not, you won't watch it, will you? You know, it's simple. You know, talking about ball mills all the time, I completely forgot to mention this. The problem with the stainless steel balls we know, so that's a known one. I found a company last night, a UK company that can supply stainless steel balls, borosilicate ones, which is the kind of glass that your beakers, your average beakers and Pyrex and Pyrex jars and stuff like that is made from. They do tungsten carbide, alumina ones, all these different balls. So I'm waiting for an email from the company and you know, outlining what they can do for me. So yeah, I'm going to try that. But the other thing I forgot to say was this. God blimey, it was about what, 2.5, 3 years ago, we saw RMS in his kitchen with one of these, and it's what he called a 3-roll mill. Well, you're not going to get any problems with this, are you? I think these wheels are granite or something like that, by the looks of them. And in the bottom of the pot you've got granite there as well. So you're not going to get any metal fragments at all in your carbons. And these things do grind, you know, anything up to a really, really fine precipitate. So I just thought I'd mention it because, I mean, they're noisy as hell, but you know, you can't have everything, can you? But yeah, I've now got a 3-roll mill. Well, there are 2 rolls in there. Whether that's a 2-roll mill, I don't know. But I'm going to give it a whiz and we'll see. I've almost finished my kiln, so hopefully by this weekend I'll be making some carbons again. But of course, where are we? It's now the 18th of December. Time's whizzing by. Don't really know what I'm going to get time for. But I am trying to prepare something which is on the bench here. I'm going to give it a shot and we'll see what happens. So, I can't think of anything else to say at this moment apart from I'll see you soon. You be good.